And let's try not to say in the first 5 minutes.
Ugh,
I know. Well, because doesn't YouTube can get mad? Welcome, everyone, to Chirping Zebras, episode 68, the Jaromír Jagr episode. Of course, 53 years old and still playing pro hockey. We love that man. Mark Riley alongside Gino Binder Jr. and Josh Dolan coming to you from the interwebs. And we want to thank, right off the hop, our sponsor, the Referees Crease, your one-stop shop for all your refereeing needs. And also thank our studio, AOA Studios. We'll be back there shortly in our next episode. And we want to make sure you like and subscribe on YouTube. Make sure you smash that like and subscribe button and find us on the social medias. We're on everything, Facebook, Instagram, and of course,
the TikTok.
Thank you. The TikTok. So find us out there. And also, if you are interested in buying merch, check it out on chirpingzebras.com. And you can find all the information you need from there. Gentlemen, it's a hot week.
Yes.
It is a hot one.
We're in the middle of a heat wave. And, well, actually, it'll probably break by the time this drops on Thursday. But is it me, or does all of a sudden everyone thinks like we've never had a heat wave before? The news, this is deadly weather, and it's hot. That's all it is.
It's hot, but they do this with the cold. Every time there's a blizzard, they're like, we've never seen anything like that. I'm like, it snows like this every single year. Are you surprised every single year? It's always going to be this hot and humid. It's just this time we get the heat and the humidity without the Stanley Cup, like Florida does.
Right. Actually, it was Saturday was the parade back in 2011.
Oh,
so
that was a hot day, wasn't it?
It was.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, my buddy got married that day. It was awesome.
I met Adam Sandler that day.
Matt Porter, LLC Matt Porter.
Oh,
so you didn't go to the parade,
No, we didn't go to the parade. We went to a fucking wedding. Sorry, I already broke it. We're a minute in.
I know. I love it. We talked
all right,
about
Josh, you got to do some editing.
Okay.
All right.
Before
57
we started
seconds.
It's the ones at home where I just tend to swear. Like the ones in the studio, I'm like, all right, I'm proper. I'm not going to swear. I won't do it. And then, damn it, right off the hop.
It's so good because
Can we scrub that?
I don't know. Who cares? We talked about it right before we started taping. We said, YouTube kind of, looks at language in the first 5-10 minutes. So let's do our best.
I just let you guys talk for the first 5, and I'll jump in 10 minutes.
You did say you were worried, so I'll give you that.
I mean, if you didn't catch yourself, I wouldn't have noticed.
Right. Now we're talking about it. YouTube knows. They're just going to flag this conversation.
No. Yeah. We're good. We're good. We're talking about the heat. I mean, come on. I just don't I work at their academy at the camp.
Yeah.
And it's as if kids have never experienced heat before.
You just got to drink a lot more water and
take breaks.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I just don't get the fact that all of a sudden now any change in the weather is like, I know the news. They want everyone to buy the milk and bread in the winter. And in the summer, I guess they want to sell Gatorade and water. But it's just hot, and it's only for 3 days.
Yeah.
I just don't get it.
Well, it sucks, too, when you come back from vacation and, came back from the Dude Ranch, riding High Ranch up in the Adirondacks. A bunch of my Salty guys go up there every year, and our kids are all the same age, and it's just fun watching them grow up. It's like our 8th year now. They were like little babies when we first went. And now we don't even see them because you park your car and that's it. See you. Hey. And they're like, it's awesome. Like they got their watches on or a phone. And it's like, hey, we're going to the barn. We're going to feed the horses. We're going to whatever, but just no water until an adult. That's the only rule.
I didn't know they really had places like that. I thought that was just a Billy Crystal movie.
Yeah. You know what? A bunch of city slickers up there, a bunch of Salty kids in the Dude Ranch. This year, a bunch of the Pleasure Babes went. My mother didn't go because she just had the surgery and stuff. But, they'll drink you under the table. If anybody's wondering what the Pleasure Babes are, They are a group of salty mothers that drink and swear and, have more fun than we do.
Let's just say YouTube would flag them in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah. They were in a bowling league on Thursday nights, which meant they got hammered down the yacht club with the there was one lane of there was bowling alleys. There was one lane down there. Oh yeah, it's a bowling league. Yeah, they're going down there to bowl.
they each roll 3 balls and then
yeah. I'm like, wow, what was your score? What do you mean? I just ripped butts and ripped ass all night.
No, at the Dude Ranch, which I'm fascinated by. I've always been fascinated by this.
You should come up next year and we should do a show. They would let us.
I would love it. We could have
do a live show there. Yeah, it's a little pricey, but it's good. Like all the food's paid for. Like they feed or like overfeed you. It's like food all day long. You got options. And, if you don't like what they want, you can get a grilled. I had a grilled cheese basically. With every meal. I would get my meal and then just grilled cheese on the side.
So first of all, I'm surprised with all those salty people going up there with horses. Nothing's ever happened to a horse,
right?
One coming back with you. But so just like, do you ride horses? Do you rope steers? Like, what kind of things do you do?
Well, there's 3 or 4 different options for riding. So you got like just the walk, then you got your trot, and then you got like youth advance, which, they'll take off. Well, actually, they do a little jog. So like the intermediate, just like a little, they don't like light up, but they'll just jog down the thing. It's better than the trot. But like the youth advance, like they kick it up a little bit, but they don't go as far. And then the advanced one, it's like straight away, like bombing. And I did it like 5 years ago. Well, I'll never do it again. Like I was hungover. I just finished throwing up, and my friend signed me up for this thing. Like the Kristen Wilson, she's been going there since she's been a kid. Her and a sister signed me up, and I'm like, all right, I'll do it. Like you got to feel the horse like take off, right? It was friggin' awesome, but not when you have sneakers on and not the proper equipment, and it's like your 3rd time riding a friggin' horse, and that thing I thought I was gonna get thrown off. That was scary.
I can't imagine. I was on a horse. I rode horses twice. Once in New Hampshire when I was younger, and then once out in Hawaii. We went when I was with my my ex-wife. She was my fiance at the time, and we went, and it was kind of cool. We rode into this valley where they used to train, like the king used to train his troops or something. And if you're quiet, you're supposed to hear like, noises and stuff. But the problem was, one, I didn't talk about dressing wrong. I had spandex shorts and a tank top on. All right? This was a while ago, by the way.
What color was the tank top?
I'm not even kidding you. And the spandex.
No, that's why I said it.
Oh, it was awful. I was basically, your alternative friend. And so, but that wasn't the worst part, believe it or not. I just thought you wore tight clothes when you rode a horse. I didn't know.
I put jeans on, but like, yeah, I only went on one walk this year, but because like the kids can go off on their own right now, like so it doesn't matter. Like one adult went and see you later. And it's like an hour, so like a 50-minute like trot through like a trail in the woods and stuff. It's pretty cool. It's like a waterfall you see and river, all that kind of stuff. But the lake is basically private lake, and you got the whole place to yourself. It's awesome.
It's so funny. That's awesome. Like back in the 1800s, like if you had like 5 kids and a drinking problem, that was just survival. Now you're paying for it as a vacation.
Right, exactly.
It's called commerce. Right? Well,
I can make a buck out of this.
I wish I could come up with a picture from Hawaii, but what happened to me on the way back, my horse's saddle started spinning. So
it gets loose. You got to tighten it. Yeah.
I was on an angle. I almost swung around and caught the horse's Johnson, right? Like the guide had to ride next to me, holding me from going all the way around.
Yeah, so they always stop us halfway through the trail, and they'll come and just because they get loose, and they'll tighten your rope, your saddle, whatever the hell. But yeah, the kids have a blast. They do less, like they do a ride, then they do a lesson, then they go feed them. Yeah, it's awesome.
Southie Slickers.
Yes.
That could be a movie. Southie Slickers.
Dude, if
right?
I could have filled some of the shenanigans, make some laughs.
We'll have to do that next year.
Oh, yeah, we were out till yeah, we put a shift in last night. We were out till 1:30, just sitting out by the dock. One of my buddies brought the salsa shooting. We were playing that for hours, and that's when I got recognized, Ryle.
No way. Yeah, that's right. You said you got recognized.
I got recognized. I was like, come on. That was like the first time I ever got recognized. They were like, dude, you're on Chirping Zebras. He's like, that guy Mark Riley. Oh, he's hilarious.
That's awesome.
So it turned out there's ladies from Weymouth, right? Saw Dylan's T-shirts, Town Cup, and goes, hey, wait a minute. Do you know Cam Dubois, blah, blah, blah? So, like, I was like, oh, yeah, we played with her, and they got talking, and then her son comes over, and I'm like, oh, he's like, wait a minute. Hey, I know you. I was like, you know? And then a kid that played juniors, he worked there, and my wife was talking to him, and she was like, wait a minute, Chirping Zebras? He goes, oh, yeah, I like and subscribe to that.
That's awesome.
So we got some subscribers out there.
I love it. At the Dude Ranch, no less. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, you expect it to happen at a rink.
Yeah.
But at the Dude Ranch, that's even cooler.
Yeah.
Well, I love it.
So I gotta bring some merch.
Shout out to the Dude Ranch people.
Riding High.
I love it. Riding High, is that what it's called? Riding High Dude Ranch?
Yeah, Riding High Ranch. I had the dude in.
Oh, okay. All right, cool.
I mean, it's a dude ranch. Whatever. It's a ranch.
Well, it's a ranch. I mean, to a city kid, it's Dude Ranch.
Yeah, I mean, horse shit everywhere you watch where you're walking.
Yeah.
No, actually, they keep that place tip top, clean. I wouldn't send ice up there, but
it took me a minute to get that. I wouldn't doubt that they're up there.
No,
eventually.
They actually, right. They're probably hiding in the woods.
They're going everywhere else. That's for sure.
No, actually, I think they're. I actually think they're students that work there. Foreign exchange students.
Oh, cool.
That work there in the summer. Yeah.
Very cool.
Some work year round, but yeah, good stuff.
Like a hotel, or do you get cabins, or like what do you do?
You could tough it. Like the first year we were in Wagon Wheel, which was like no AC. It was just like up off to the side because like they actually had a fire up there the 3 months before we went up the first year, and then they like makeshifted the whole thing. And it actually worked out for the better because the cabin they got now is sick. It's like unreal. So they got basically rooms off to the side with AC that look out to the lake into the parking lot if you get the short straw.
All right, after a little bit of interweb problems, we're back. and I think we're going to the Dude Ranch next year. I think that's it. We're going to the Dude Ranch. And we're going to make a movie called Southie Slickers.
Let's do it.
Right? One of my favorite lines of any movie was from City Slickers when they're talking about, the brothers, right? And they're talking about ice cream, how they could pair ice cream to any meal, and they're testing each other. I think it was the guy that played Newman. Wasn't it the guy that played Newman? And he goes, he says, sea bass with a side of asparagus. And he thinks for a second and goes, rum raisin. And his brother goes, he's a genius. It's my favorite line. So anytime I hear sea bass, I always go, rum raisin. But I digress.
I say,
how about last week? How about last week's guest, PJ Thibodeau?
Oh, he's great.
How amazing is that guy? I mean, just such a great perspective on sports, especially, youth sports. And then just I told you on the ride up, he's one of the funniest people I know.
Yeah, he's really funny. The takeaway I took from it, it's the same theme across all sports, right? Like youth sports in general, basketball, it doesn't matter, right? It's just toxic right now. I don't know if it's like I was even talking to one of the Pleasure Babes up there. Her son played at BU. He was actually one of the captains in that story I tell with Jack Parker. And I'm like, I go, there was a lot of pressure on us to go, like, go to this camp, go to that power skating. Like, you got to do those skill things, but it wasn't like all these different businesses that came up. Like now you got this guy running over here. This guy's better than that guy. You got to send your kid over here, and that one's cheaper. Like there's just so much of it now, and there's so much more pressure. And if you're not doing it, it's like the stigma, like, oh well, you're not going anywhere. And I'm like, dude, you're 8, 9, 10 years old. Like, just be kids. Like, have fun. Like, it's youth sports. I don't know what's going on with it, but I don't know if it's social media. I don't know if it's that you like are in the rink 6 days a week. Like I am. I'm in the rink 6 days a week. It doesn't matter. And that wears on you.
Yeah, and I'm sure. I mean, obviously, it wears on the kids.
Yeah,
and and it's summertime. It's July.
Yeah.
It's and like PJ said, is there a fix? Right? There seems to be no fix to it because it's all about making money for all these programs.
Oh, it's big business, yeah.
Yep. And I think the interesting thing is that it actually is kind of doesn't matter the sport. It's the same issues. Like he talked about that story with the referee with the slice of pizza on her phone. I mean, talk about hilarious.
Oh my God.
But also disturbing and troubling at the same time.
I mean, it is disturbing, but I've done it. I didn't eat a pizza. I mean, I might have took a sip of my coffee.
We've all done that. But that's different, And
then I'll
stay around with it.
But that was never in anything serious. Like when I mean serious, like a league game or something. Like I'm talking spring, summer league, right? Yeah. It's like 10 weeks. Everybody just shows up just to get some reps. Those type of leagues. Your iced coffee sitting over there and you skate by, you take a sip. And I'll never forget one time, like me and Sweeney were just like on each other's nerves. And Rotundo's league, it was that women's league in Ratusha. Every Sunday you get the, do Chris 50s. Here you go. So like, I just like skate out with my coffee. I put it down and I had to go to the other side of the ice for something, right? And Sweeney goes, "Hey, Gino!" Right in the trash.
No.
I wanted to kill him.
Oh my God.
And then he said, like, the play's going on. What am I gonna do? Go across the ice? And then he just sipping on his. Oh, it was so funny. Oh yeah, he was sipping on his. Yeah. Oh, I was so pissed. It was so funny though, man. And then no wonder why you get in trouble in that. Oh my God.
Well, I think that the summer leagues, obviously it's changed, right?
Yeah.
A lot. I remember Tommy Parisi and I doing games out in Marlboro, one of those tournaments out there. And we called it the Russian system. So we'd chase each other around the rink to see if we could catch each other. So we'd start at center ice and we'd just fly around the rink trying to catch each other. But
like during play?
Yeah, during the game. We just fly around the rink.
How does that even happen? I've never even, I don't even know how that even...
We called it the Russian system, and I don't even know why. But we literally would skate around the rink trying to catch each other. And if you had to stop, you got caught. So the goal was to keep the play moving. But at the same time, we'd catch every penalty because, I mean, we were good at what we did.
I mean, there was nothing really going on. Like the trip stuck out.
Summer,
there was no hitting.
No. I remember we got a major penalty while we were flying around the rink. The kid got bundled from behind.
There's no chance you guys saw it. You guys reacted to the bench, and then you saw the kid. And then you saw the kid
We
laid out
saw
like
it. We saw
you
it.
saw the carcass on the.
We saw it.
Well, that looks like
Come
a
on.
result of a major penalty.
Oh, that and when Luke Galvin gave the coach a penalty for suggesting that I couldn't read, that was one of my favorites. When the guy, he said, "You saw that," and I said, "No, what do you mean? I saw it." And he goes, "You saw it." I go, "What do you got, a crystal ball back there?" I go, "Can you tell me what TV shows I watch?" And he goes, "I don't watch TV. I read."
Oh my god!
And all of a sudden, Luke skates over and goes, "Put someone in the box." And the guy goes, "For what?" And he goes, "You just suggested my partner can't read." So good. But yeah, you're right. It's across the board. The ref problems, the excessive nature of play.
Yeah.
Right. It's just absolutely out of control.
Dude, those summer tournaments, like that Dunkin' Donuts story I told you. Like,
oh yeah,
we were like, we were down this particular rink like 3-4 times a week, right? And then he throws a tournament on the weekend, so now you're down there all weekend long, and then you're back there Tuesday, then another weekend you're there, right? It's that whatever. So like you get in the routine, like you get sick of people, right? So me and Sweeney we were 10 minutes late. Probably 5-10 minutes late for, start of a summer league tournament game in the morning. And, that Dunkin' Donuts is right there with 2 seconds from the rink. And I'm like, screw it. Right into the Dunkies. Right. And we come walking in 15 minutes late. And, Sterling sitting there going, "Oh, you guys had time for coffee, huh? Yeah. Nope. Barking at us. I'm like, what? I was like, we'll be on time by the time we finish, trust me. And then, we had Night Train in the box. We were good.
Oh yeah, Night Train. He could turn an hour game into 42 minutes.
No, it was unbelievable.
This guy could cut the clock like no one else.
He chopped time like yeah.
No one would catch him. Even
and
if
he had your little dog in the booth. You had your buddy dog in the booth with him. Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah,
even if you watch the clock and like tried to catch him, never catch him. It was. He would put the clock, like he would reset the clock,
but he would just do it so quick.
Like it would be say 15:15. All of a sudden, it would be 12:15.
Yes,
it was like almost instant. He would chop, no lie, up to 10 minutes off a game.
And you always did it so like the scoreboard was usually down one end. So like if it was down the other end, that's when like the minutes came off. So like it was always like 10 to 15 seconds at a whack, and people like, how do we get a 50-minute game in 45 minutes? I'm like,
no whistle.
No whistle.
Speed up that way.
Meanwhile, you had 10 icing.
Yeah.
There is certain ways you could do it. And I don't know, should I give the secret away?
What
I tell people to do if you need to catch up is you never keep it running after the whistle. Because what do people do when the whistle blows? They look at the clock, right? So you stop it. But then since we blow the whistle to start the face-off procedure, right? Mm-hmm. No one's looking at the clock. So the whistle goes to start the face-off procedure. The clock starts. You can get at least 7-8 seconds off the clock every time.
Didn't a scorekeeper complain about you saying that? Hey, when I blow the whistle, start the clock.
Yeah. Yeah. They wouldn't do it.
Right.
And before listeners go nuts, these are in those games that it's 6-7-0, and not in 1-goal games or, games of a championship of like a tournament or something. These are in those games that it's over. It's over. And the only thing that's going to come out of it, especially the older kids, like the Banthams and the little people games, it's going to, you caught that? Only shit is going to happen. So why not make it shorter? That's what I'm talking about.
Well, everybody in the building wants to get out of there, right? Exactly. Like everybody's miserable. The kids are miserable. The parents just got like I've been on both sides of it now, being in youth hockey where we've blown teams out and gotten blown out, right? And everyone's just like, all right, let's just wrap this up.
Yeah.
And when you do that, like as a ref, people like somebody can just do it out of pure principle. Oh, you got right. Just someone wants to be a jerk off, and in the same breath, right? Like it's 6-1. The kid's off sides. They're getting blown out. Like give them the shit. Like go ahead, go get a shot on net. Like have at it. Like who cares? And those are the ones where it's like it drives you nuts when like people don't know that you're managing the game within the game.
Right. And people don't get it.
It's just like, Riles, it's just like anything else, right? Like we say all this kind of stuff and like we do it like jokingly, like in house. And then, like you said, like somebody will go and take this for, oh my God, let's go and run the time at the Chirping Zebras. No, it's not that. It's right. It's just like, there's rules and stipulations and stuff, right? And you don't allow it because people take shit too far, right? Like way too far. And I don't know, like you watch those Red Sox documentaries, right? They're all taking a shot before every playoff game, right? Like they're doing one, okay? And then what happened like a couple of years after that? The beer, the pizza, the chicken, you had like two assholes just, oh, dude, we're getting hammered now. Like, it's like, oh, drinking's okay. Right on. It's just like, no, we did one shot. Like, nah, I'm going to do 6. Like there's that person that's going to do 6. So like, it's the same principle here, right? Don't go out and ref your games proper because like I had Billy Simp tell me one time, he goes, dude, all the little tricks you're trying to do, you're actually adding time, you idiot. Like just like blow the whistle, do this, hurry up, skate, like hustle up, and you do it right and you'll get through it.
Now, also, not to confuse anyone, we are not saying take a shot before you referee a game.
No, that was a baseball. That was World Series. Oh, boy, you had to break a curse.
I know. People aren't really listening. And then they're like, holy shit, they just said to drink before a game. No, we did not.
The MLB, baseball.
But you,
wow, we'll get that.
There goes Josh.
We're going to get the echo again.
You bring up, though, but you bring up a good point in that people don't always understand what's going on. And I think the better run tournaments run the clock after you get to a certain point, right? If a team's up 5 goals, you run the clock because, again, you in those tournaments, and you've seen it, you got a team that's way better than another team, and they're crushing them. Dude, no one wants to be there anymore.
Dude, the tournament my daughter was going to play in this weekend, but we went to the Dude Ranch. Like, we had this trip booked forever, right? And she got asked to play in this team, and my buddy put this team together, and I saw the roster. I was like, oh my God, they got to smoke everybody. It was all tier 1 girls. And, I think they gave up like 3 shots on net and they mopped the tournament. Like,
right.
Like the semifinal game was like 8-0, 7-0, whatever.
And that really doesn't do anything for any of those kids.
But like, so like Mary's like, Mary goes like, how can you, scale what girls hockey? Like how can you like do it? Like, do you go, hey, once you're a tier 1 player, you're a 1, and you're a 2 if you're a 2, 3, and then like you can kind of like accumulate the tags and say, all right, well, this is the caliber at least. I don't know what the answer is, but
well, doesn't it go
I feel like it's like that in boys hockey too, but like,
well, I think it might come down because there was always the rule you could play up, but you couldn't play down, right?
Right.
But I think the problem now with all these different tournaments, they got to fill the tournaments with teams.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yep.
I mean, I saw it when my daughter, who's 24 now, my daughter Diana, when she was on a Pee Wee team, we went up to Jay Peak with the great indoor water park and the whole ball of wax, right? And it was a boys team. And we were a true town B team. That's what we were. And there was one other town B team. It was supposed to be a B tournament, right? Franklin went up with a town B team. Every other team there, they opened it up and made it an A-B tournament. So you had the team from New Jersey, which was a regional tier 1 team. They called it A back then. There was a team from Montreal that in theirs was an A, but it was probably a triple A.
And they all wear those big neck guards.
Huge neck guards. You had like 2 other regional teams, right? So we play the New Jersey team Friday night, the first game of the tournament. And there's no way we should be playing this team. And, the tournament director said, well, I couldn't get enough B teams, so we opened it up. And I'm like, well, that's bullshit, but I get it. And we ended up tying that team. I don't even know how, but we ended up tying them. And then the only game that was a good game that whole tournament was against Franklin. We had an awesome game because we were the same level. The Montreal team was stupid. They were just filthy. And I'll never forget a kid, and the refs up there were brutal. And my daughter played defense at the time, let go of a shot and got bundled with a cross check, right? No call. So she came to the bench pissed off, and I said, well, maybe it's time you got to do that too. And next whistle at our net, kid dug in, smoked the kid with the cross check. Now, she should have got a penalty. She didn't.
Was Ricky Averill working?
Yeah. Yeah, it was the A crew. But that's what happens. I think it's been going on. It was going on before, but now it's even worse because you have such disparity. The game I did last weekend, one of the girls at Harrow tournament, one of the teams had 8 kids, 8 skaters. Yeah. Now, those 8 skaters were pretty damn good and stayed with the other team that had a full squad.
Well, they eventually wore down, yeah.
But they wore down and they end up losing 5-0.
Right.
And why? Because it was going to be a nice beach day. And, what 15, 16-year-old girls want to get up at 8 o'clock?
Oh, we were canoeing we were out in the kayak, and I'm like, Dylan, what would you rather be doing right now?
Of course the answer's kayak.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't it be?
But honestly, and then we're going to get on a plane in 2 weeks and go to Utah.
Well, that's what, crazy people do.
Yeah, you pick your spots. No, once a month, I think you got to check in. She's doing 3-on-3 with her team on Thursday morning. So it's like, things like that are good. Like checking in, get your bearings and move on. 50 minutes. That's it.
I don't know. I think it's good. I think it's good that you do that.
I did it. I always did it. Like I took a couple weeks completely off, and then, Bambi legs, you got to get back out there.
Yeah. For sure. I'm heading to Montana in a couple weeks.
Yep.
For that Face Off for Heroes.
That's one of the 4 states I've never been.
Yeah, I have 5 left, and I'm hitting Montana and Alaska. So for the Sack Tap and Moose tour, I got the T-shirts. I'm going to show them to you next episode.
Let's go.
I'm going to give you a T-shirt. It's a Sack Tap and Moose T-shirts for the Sack Tap and Moose tour into Alaska. So
how are these not selling off the shelves right now?
Well, they're in a box in my car because I just picked them up. But I better sell all of them because I paid for them. But they're pretty funny. And I'm going to be in Kenai and then Eagle River for the big show up with Stevie Glines, with Glindsey and Travis Jackson.
My man.
So, so we'll I'll have all kinds of content from there.
There's a bunch of other guys up there too. They're all good people, man.
Yeah, I think they're all coming to the show. Yeah. Eagle River. And I'm gonna have video proof of me sack tapping a moose.
Jackson gave me JJ Johnson's contact. We got to get him on there. He was from Alaska. Fighter. He was funny.
All right.
Like, that I think it was the town. Like, I think that's where he got it. Salty Dorchester. Don't fuck with him, kid. Like, he would come out and bang the boards before every game and say that. It was absolutely hysterical.
It's awesome. Speaking of guests, our next guest is none other than the Rear Admiral from Spitting Chicklets, R.A. So that's going to be fun.
Yeah.
That'll be next week's episode. Well, barring anything crazy happening.
Maybe the heat wave might knock our internet out tomorrow.
I hope not. So the Stanley Cup, we're going to talk about that.
I mean, how about Brad Marchand, man? Fucking awesome.
You know what? I still hate Sam Bennett.
So do I. Yeah. I'll never like him.
I'll never like him, but
unless he comes to the Bruins.
Well, yeah, if he's on the Bruins. I mean, if Marchand was on any other team, we'd hate him.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, we don't now because we still love him, but
right.
But you got to give Bennett props for the Conn Smythe, scoring as 15 goals like he did, and he tied, on that list of people, Gretzky, Crosby. There's some. He's in elite company, and you got to give him props. And he didn't knock anyone out.
No.
Right. Well, Marchand giving the speech, he said, I'm glad I don't have to play against these guys. And I'm glad Benny won't knock me out again. I mean, it's still weird. That's what that was the buzz today.
What, Toronto?
And, yeah. And Bennett, if you saw that video that was out there on the socials when he was at the club there, and he said, I ain't fucking leaving, and everyone went nuts. But of course, their cap numbers, I mean, I don't know how they're gonna sign both of them. I mean, if they were smart, they would make it happen somehow. And Marchand and Bennett maybe take a discount, because if they stay, they potentially could win another 2 or 3 cups. I mean, is that crazy to say?
Now, what's all I hate all this. I mean, yeah, you just brought up Sweeney, so like the whole McDavid coming to Boston thing. Like, what are we doing?
Well, we know how you feel about Sweeney, and it's okay.
But if you're going to make a move with Edmonton, it's not sending Swayman to Edmonton and getting McDavid. You're keeping Swayman and somehow getting McDavid.
Right? But how do you do that?
Like you're not. So it's not happening.
Right.
The only way you're doing it is you're shipping Swayman off for what? Like, what are you going to get back?
Well, yes.
Yeah.
Why?
Pasternak and oh my God. Yeah, you need.
Wait a minute. If you put McDavid with Pasternak, I mean, forget about it. It'd be like Draisaitl and McDavid. Now, granted.
Better.
Well, you would, but McDavid is McDavid. I mean, that's, he's the modern day Gretzky as far as talent. Now, you can argue he lost 2 cups in a row, right? And he hasn't really won anything. Okay. I get that, but he's still, I mean, who's a better player right now in the NHL than Connor McDavid? I would argue maybe Jack Eichel, right? But from a forward standpoint, I mean, who is better than them?
I want you to make this. I want. Go ahead, Josh. Sorry.
Well, true, but Edmonton, I mean, you look at Edmonton and they ran into Florida. And when you have Brad Marchand on your third line, how the fuck do you lose? I mean, let's be honest, right? Brad Marchand's on your third line. That's insane.
I mean, that's how all these cup-winning teams, they have the best third line in hockey. Like, that's neat.
That's how the Bruins won. They had the best fourth line in hockey back in 2011.
Third and fourth. Like,
yeah.
Like that.
I mean, that's the key. And
I get, awesome.
I get you don't want to be top-heavy, right? It hasn't worked for Toronto, obviously.
You need centers. Like, the Bruins need another center. Like,
they need centers.
They need centers. Like,
would you want Austin Matthews?
Yes.
I mean, the answer is obvious, but I mean, there's a guy that hasn't been able to win, right? I mean, the big one.
Yeah.
But
I mean, he's also in Toronto.
Yeah. With Toronto, I mean.
So I'll give him a little. little slack there. I mean, that's a lot more pressure on anybody else than, anybody else is facing in the league than, so like if he gets out and goes to another place, I guarantee you all that pressure will be off. He doesn't have to be the man, especially here if you got Pasternak. He's a good extra piece, and let him fly. Like I think he's going to excel no matter where he goes.
Well, he's probably not going to sign again with Toronto.
He already said he was.
Well, yeah, but I mean, we've heard that before from players, and then they end up re-signing. But I don't think he's going to end up with Toronto. I don't know where he's going to end up, but he probably won't. But I think Edmonton's problem is goaltending. I mean, how do you not look at the goaltending?
Sounds
right?
Like
hasn't that been the Achilles heel for a while?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Florida has
it sounds like they could use Swayman in a trade.
They could, but then if they're giving up McDavid, what does that do? I don't know what the answer is, but I know Skinner wasn't the answer, and Pickard. I mean, he came in and did an okay job, but Florida has Bob.
You know what? I'd take Skinner and McDavid for Swayman and like throw in whoever, but all day.
That's
all day.
Would you do McDavid and Skinner for Swayman and McAvoy?
Yeah.
All right. I mean, that's I think what and you probably have to throw in another one. You have to probably throw in maybe at least another NHL player and maybe a prospect. I don't know. Depends on how desperate Edmonton.
Swayman's contract's awful.
Oh, it is.
Like, I hated it from Jump Street. I don't know if we can go back on the pod. Like, I go, why are we paying a goalie that much money? I go, it's ridiculous. You could find a good goalie for $4 or $5 million to carry you right on through. There's only a few Bobs out there. And even at times he's human, right? So it's like you got a horse team in front of you, like 3 lines, 60, and your third pair of defensemen, see the ice every, the other one's sitting. But, they're blocking shots and just laying the lumber and clearing out front. I don't know.
It's an interesting kind of thing to jump into because there's so many different scenarios. And of course, it all comes down to the cap. All right. I mean, what can you do with what you have available for the cap? I mean, they kind of ran into the problem there before when they had all that money tied up. And, if you have all your money tied up in 1 or 2 or 3 players, that does limit the rest of your roster.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, you look at Florida. I think one of the most underrated players on Florida is Barkov, Sasha Barkov. I think, not only as far as, point production, he had a pretty good playoffs, but you think about the centers he had to go against. He went against Matthews, he went against Aho, and then he had to go against McDavid and Draisaitl, right? Like, he played the best centers, some of the best in the league.
Yeah.
He had to play against them, shift in and shift out, and that guy's a beast.
He is.
Mean, he's
one of the most underrated players. Yeah, I would say so.
I think he is, and you look at him, he's like a bigger version of Patrice Bergeron.
Yeah, you're right.
He can score. There's no question he can score, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think some of that is lost because he's so freaking good in the D zone, and he's so good at shutting people down. He's like Anze Kopitar. Same kind of mold, right? A big body that can score, but also can shut down those other centers. And I think, he was never going to win the Conn Smythe. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he should have won, but I think he's one of the most underrated pieces that played a massive role in Florida winning the Cup.
I think Marchand, like 2 game winners, just like that extra little edge, that little spark, that like, hey, this is my last run, like that. Who knows if it is or not? But like, man, like that energy that he has, like that he can bring, and just the and the production, like he puts it up. He can, he put up points.
He, he did bring a certain swagger, right? That Florida already had, but he put him over the edge. But also, I don't know if you'd agree with this. Marchand allowed Florida to not have to be as affected by Tkachuk's injury, because Tkachuk was freaking hurt.
Right.
Like, he was hurt. He had a ripped tendon and shit, like away from the bone. Like, he was in bad shape.
Yeah, he couldn't really move. Yeah.
With Marchand now joining the team, you don't have to play Tkachuk as much as you have to play him, because now you have someone else that can fill that role.
Right.
Right. So it allowed them to kind of almost, I don't want to say rest him, but not overwork him, so that he could still be effective with the minutes that he had. Because I don't think if he's forced to play, the minutes that he played last year in the playoffs, I don't know if he's as effective. And, I don't know if they might still win the cup. I don't know. But I think that was a huge piece to it, too.
Huge.
So, I mean, they're just such a complete team. And I don't think they're going anywhere. I really don't.
Oh, they'll be back. They'll be back in the hunt. Just like those, yeah. But you're right. It will be interesting who they keep, it'll be tough to keep everybody.
Now, there was talk, and I don't know if you've heard anything about Charlie Coyle coming back to the Bruins.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
I think that would be great. I
love his game.
Some rumor stuff, but
speaking of good third liners, right? Like having a good third line, like him on your third line, filthy. Like that cup run they went on, he was awesome on that third line, because
and he's a 200-foot player. That's the key to him. He can shut out. Think about what he did against. So in that Florida series, right? Tkachuk did nothing in those first 4 games when we were up 3-1. He did nothing, and who was he playing against? Charlie Coyle. Coyle shut him down because he had the size and the speed and the youth to stay with him.
Right.
Right. And then, Bergie came back, and all of a sudden things turned, and Tkachuk owned that last 4 games of that 3 games of that series. I don't know. I don't know. Josh, had you heard anything about Charlie Coyle coming back to the Bruins?
Other than like those fucking fake hockey blogs. Yeah, other than you.
Other than me starting this rumor.
Well, the Chirping Zebras, they get inside scoop.
I swear someone told me that.
Are those guys living in Weymouth?
To say it with confidence.
It's a Charlie Coyle conspiracy. That's what it is. I would love to get him back. And one more thing on the cup. We got to give props to Chris Rooney, who worked at deciding Game 6, came back from that nasty eye injury. And for my money, again, and I think for yours too, best ref in the league.
Oh, yeah.
I really, him and Wes McCauley,
I'll tell you,
best ref in the league.
My buddies, Francis Sharon, number 6, and then Gino Binder, number 15, who also worked with those guys. I thought they nailed it too. I mean, I worked the East Coast Finals with both those guys. What do you mean?
I'm sorry, but Hebert gets in the way all the fucking time.
Well, he moves.
He's always dancing out of the way.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but he's always dancing out of the way.
Yeah, he's always been like that.
All right. Well, if he's always been like that, that's fine. That honestly, that's the only. I mean, I don't have a problem with him.
Well, his penalty selection, everything's like.
I don't know. I don't necessarily have a problem with, how he calls the game. It's just the way he moves out there is just so fucking annoying.
Well, he's a French Canadian from the East Coast, right? Like,
yeah,
he's from like Moncton, so like. His French is just as bad as his English.
All right, I'll cut him some slack then. But props to all those guys that worked, for sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and the linesmen too. Yeah.
Now there was a trade today. So today's Monday. This is dropping Thursday. Trevor Zegras. Zegras gets dealt.
Do you know who the kid they traded away, Philly? Do you know the kid who that is?
No.
So he played Ryan, I think, is the older one. He's not one of the twins. He played in St. Cloud. And then there was twin brothers. They were absolutely nuts. Like, they were tough as nails. Big, they played hard. They were really good. Like, remember when St. Cloud went on all those runs? Like, the twins and him, they were a big part of that. He was a Montreal draft pick.
Oh, Ryan Proling.
Yeah.
Is that yeah?
I think that's who. Yeah. Poland. Are you looking him up? Is his stats up? Am I right?
Yep. Zegras was traded to Flyers for Ryan Poling.
Poling, yes.
I think that's how you say it. Poling.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then he had a mishap in Montreal. Like, I don't know. It was like, I forget what happened. Too big for his britches, something like that. And they shipped him out of town.
I mean, the Ducks have been they've been very busy trading for Kreider too to the Rangers. That's a huge
Chris Kreider
huge acquisition. Yeah. Yep.
He's always been like a sneaky, like underrated, always like he just shows up, Kreider.
In big games. I love his game.
His game's
I
good.
love his game. He just plays hard nose and he gives you everything you got every shift.
Coho teed him up one night in Adirondack when he was first coming up. Yeah, it was awesome. I'll never forget that. I was like, dude, you don't talk to Coho, man. What are you doing?
That's awesome. But yeah, big trade, and I'm sure we're going to see some more. Now, you wanted to touch on the draft a little bit, NHL draft.
Yeah, so I told my buddies that I would bring this out in the open.
Okay.
No, we were talking last night, actually. We were solving the world's problems at 1:30 in the morning out by the lake, and
that checks out.
Like how I would tune in for this, like you take like the top 200 and you make a tournament out of it. Everybody that's draft eligible, and you make a sick tournament. Like right now, everybody's striving, like wants hockey, right?
Yeah.
I would tune into that in the summertime. But they have like those top 18, like the top 18-year-old. They got all those different types of tops. But like the actual people that are draft eligible, like that are gonna get drafted, that are on the draft list, like I don't know how you do it.
So they'd play before the draft.
Before the draft.
That would be thick.
It would be like a tournament. But then you get, you solve the world issues at 1:30 in the morning. Are they really going to go hard? Are they going to get hurt before the draft? Are they going to?
That's the thing.
Are their stocks going to go up? Are the stocks going to drop down? I was like, great idea. I go, that sounds awesome. But like, there's a lot of money involved. There's a lot of other shit that you got to think about than just our entertainment.
Well, yeah, well, no, not necessarily.
I don't know, but I think there's something there.
Well, when you think about it, think about a kid who might be, out of the top 20 and has plays in a tournament like that and fucking rips it up, and all of a sudden he's a top 5 pick, and then you got a kid who's projected to go top 10 and shows against that top talent that he's not as good as everyone thinks he is, and he drops down to the mid-20s.
Right.
It would be awesome on so many levels. I don't know if it could be done because
maybe they do it like mid-season. I don't know. And
injuries. That's the big thing. Is a kid goes out and gets injured. Now he doesn't get drafted. Now you know what I mean? Like
right.
That's
what you're talking about. I'm like, I think that would. I go, that sounds awesome on paper. Like, but
on paper, it's fantastic because you could actually see. I think it would. I mean, personally, I think that kind of tournament could change the complexion of the draft and who gets drafted where.
Right.
Because you'd honestly see how these kids are,
perform against stuff. Right.
Yeah. Because I mean, kids who think of all the guys in college that looked incredible, but then came out and were average pros.
Right.
And the kids that, weren't anything, weren't, highly touted coming out of college, but then end up having great college pro careers.
Pro careers, right?
In the NHL. So I love the idea.
That's what I'm hoping that kid from BC does.
Right.
For the
yeah.
Score one goal next year. Just one.
Let's not get hurt. Well, the Bruins, they picked what, 7th?
Something like that. I think.
Yeah, they picked 7th. What's crazy is the Islanders got the first pick, and the percentage of them getting that pick was like 7% or something. It was so low that they weren't supposed to get that pick.
Now, wasn't there rumor, like, not rumor, I mean, you hear all sorts of crap, but like they're saying Bruins are trying to get up, or Donnie's trying to get up into the top 5. I mean, what are you going to jump up 2 spots? Like, who are we really targeting? Like a shoe-in player tomorrow? But like,
is there a shoe-in player in this draft?
I don't know. I don't think so. There's good players. There's really good players in this draft.
There's definitely good players, but like,
if you're gonna do it, get up and get a center. Like, go get that center that this franchise needs go get the next Bergeron. Go get the next Krejci. Find them. You need it.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, you have some kids. You have some guys. I think the first couple picks in the NHL draft typically are those guys who are impact players, right? But are there enough of them in this draft? That's, I guess, the question is, and is, like you said, is it worth the Bruins getting 2 or 3 picks up? Are they going to get a kid, talent-wise, that's going to be that much better than pick 7?
Right.
And what are they going to have to give up?
Right. Not like you hear like the McDavid, Sagans, and whatever's, or like those like 3-4 in a row. There's none of that. Like generational players, I don't think. But I just think that's the way the game is now too. I feel like when I was working college hockey consistently, I felt like I watched the same freaking game night in, night out. I called the same 3 hooks and a hold, and then you had that major penalty because it's a college hockey game, right? But it was like I was like, man, I'm watching the same movie over and over again. But I don't know.
Well, if you look at some of the mock drafts, right? Like you said, there's kids coming out in the past that everyone talked about. This kid, Matt Schaefer, is projected to go number 1. And, OHL kid, big kid, Anton Frundell, for, international player, from Sweden, Michael Missa, and I hope I'm pronouncing these names right. I don't know, but they seem to be the consensus for the first, seems like the first 4 or 5 picks.
Mm-hmm.
But are any of these kids household names right now? I mean, your hardcore hockey people have heard of them, but like right. Taylor Hall, Tyler Seguin, McDavid, Eichel, all those guys, everyone knew them. I don't know if there's someone like that in this year's draft. Or who's a shoe-in to make a difference right away in the NHL. I don't know. I mean, there could be, but I don't know. This mock draft has Jake O'Brien going to the Bruins, or
I think
Porter
that's the kid
Martone.
I think O'Brien's the kid my buddy Chuck likes.
Okay,
Chuck Levine. Who? Charlie Levin?
So it'll be interesting to see what happens. We have that coming up.
I mean,
the
Bruins. I mean, look at their cap space. I mean,
they have enough of it this year. They just signed today. They just announced Mason Lohrei.
2-year extension. That's awesome. Yeah,
2-year extension.
Dude, I get all my Brewers news off my Celtic text chain.
Oh, right on.
Like they don't. I like one of them sits at work and doesn't miss a fucking tweet.
He just watches it, making
I
sure.
mean, all day long, you're getting tweets said it's hilarious. But no, yeah, we get the, I don't know. I don't know if I like the Lindholm thing needs to pan out, right? Like,
Yeah.
that's your top line center. Like,
And he didn't play like it.
no, and he's ×6, right?
Yeah.
And then you got Middlestat ×2. I'll take that. Right
Who
down.
I think he's going to develop into a really good player.
I'll take him as a second line center all day. And then if you do sign a Mitch Minor, that's an unreal third line center. You just bump everybody down.
They have the cap. That's the thing. But are they going to spend it? Is Jacobs going to spend it?
You have to. You have to.
We say that. So how many years have we said that, though? That they have to spend it and they end up not spending it.
Right.
Or not getting the right people. I don't know.
The rest of it, it's all junk. Like, the bottom six is just horrendous. Like, what are we doing? Like, you...
Yeah.
I mean,
it has the
drafts.
The drafts in the past haven't been the best.
No.
Right? And that's why this draft is so crucial. They're picking in the top 10 for the first time in a long time.
A lot of people don't like their D, but I like their D core. I mean, Mason Lorei needs to not be a -100. But other than that,
-100. But I see. Here's the thing. I think his ceiling is huge.
It's huge.
I think once he figures out how to play defense.
Yeah.
I mean, and that sounds stupid, but offensively, I think he could be kind of could really make a difference on the back end, especially in the power play. But he needs to be able to play at the other end of the rink and, be able to play that defense that, they need him to play. I think he'll get there. I really do. I think he'll get there. I think he's going to end up being a really solid, like, number 4, maybe even a number 3, in his career. But I think, and you know how I feel about Lindholm on D, maybe he'll have a better year coming back from the injury. I just think in the playoffs, he's not, you need something more than him in the playoffs.
You need Johnny Boychuk back.
Oh, yeah, you do. Johnny Rocket, a former guest on Chirping Zebras here.
You need Boychuk.
Boychuk and Ferentz.
Yes.
We need that whole decor back. Seidenberg, right? We need that whole decor back. Chara. That decor was fucking nasty.
They were awesome.
Oh, they were nasty.
Yeah.
They were so good. So good. So before we wrap it up, first of all, TNT did a great job, I thought.
Awesome job.
I think, again,
they need some zebras on there.
Well, yeah, they do. They need someone on that panel. Henrik Lundqvist, for my money, he dresses impeccably. His suits are spot on, straight fire every night.
You would like that, yep.
Oh, I take a picture of him every night, send it to my buddy. I just love the guy. But that whole panel, right? You got Gretzky. I mean, come on, right? Biz adds that component. What do you have?
Biz
7
makes them
goals
makes them relevant. I think it's awesome.
Liam's great as the host.
Yeah, he's awesome. Great.
Anson Carter, fantastic.
Awesome.
And then of course King Henry. There's nobody dresses better. And and the insight they have it all covered. I mean, and when they add in that odd guest, it just clicks. They just did such a great job. I love watching that.
I mean, it goes to show that they do a good job when you tune in, right?
Yeah.
I always have it on, and I was like, usually walk away and you do something, change the channel, but you keep it on because of them, and that's huge. That's what you want in a, that's what I just wish Nesson would be better, right? Like, even like their post and pre games, there's none of that for the Bruins. For the most part, they have sometimes, but
Dale Arnold is back.
But do they do the post and pregame every game?
Yeah. They have Bruins Overtime Live, and what's the pregame is called? I forget what the pregame is, but they do a pregame and a postgame and they have Barry Peterson, they have Billy Jaffe. Yep. They have Sophia Yurkskovich. Come on, probably the only one that can outdo Henry Lundqvist, I think, as far as dress and what to look at. But and ESPN does a good job too. Say what you want about Subban. I like him.
I love Subban.
I like him on the telecast. I think he does a great job. I really do. Yeah. But you look at ratings wise, I was comparing some of the numbers to the NBA final, and I know it's kind of comparing apples to oranges in some ways, but the NBA was down overall 9%.
Well, they didn't want those two teams in it, right?
That's the thing. Game 7 did really well for them the other night when Oak City won. But some of the, Game 6 was down 34% from last year in the NBA. Now you look at the NHL, last year down 33%, but last year was on ABC. This year is on TNT. That makes a difference. Even though I think the TNT product is better, especially from the
nobody knows where to go. Yeah, nobody knows
broadcast standpoint.
Right.
Although I think Sean McDonough should do every game.
Yes.
Sean McDonough for me is lights out no matter what sport he does.
Yes.
But hockey, he's like, I put him at that Doc Emmerich. I put him at that Gary Thorne kind of level. You know what I mean? I just think he's fantastic. I'd love to hear him work, across the network.
What's going on?
But, overall, it's like the Four Nations did really well.
Yes.
And actually did better than the Stanley Cup. It might have been that it was a rematch. It might have been, who knows? It's hockey. Unfortunately, you watch the Stanley Cup playoffs compared to the NBA. I know if you're a basketball person, you're going to disagree, but I just find the Stanley Cup just such great television every round.
It was good. It was good. It was must-watch TV.
100%. I mean, again, non-hockey people, I think they're going to probably argue, but it's the toughest trophy to win in all of sports. No question. You got to win 16 games. And you look at these teams like Edmonton and Florida, think of how many hockey games they've played in the last 2 years.
Yeah, right.
Right? Because they went to 7 games last year and 6 games this year. Right? So you're playing 100 and something games.
What are the odds of them getting back to the Cup? Pretty slim.
3 times in a row? I mean, just the wear and tear alone. I mean, you think of it. They win, right? It's late June. So, some guys are already 2 months into their break. And now you're back on the ice. Well, you expect to be back on the ice competitively in September.
Right.
That's a short break. Yeah. And Florida, they're going to be partying for a month like they did last year. So, I mean, who knows? But it will be interesting to see if Florida can three-peat, or even it'd be tough to do. It'd be tough to do. It hasn't been done, right? In the NHL? No one's three-peated, to my knowledge, unless the Canadians did it.
I was going to say the Canadians or the Islanders might
have. And you know what? We kind of should know this, but I don't think it's ever been done, though. I know Edmonton didn't do it, right? No other team in the expansion era has won more than 2 cups in a row.
There you go.
The original 6, the Canadians won 5 straight cups. I knew they had done it. The Maple Leafs won 3 straight, too, in the 40s and in the 60s. And the Canadians did it late 50s.
Yeah, but none of that counts. They all cheated.
No, but prior to the expansion year,
before the expenses went up.
No one's ever done it. So, yeah, I mean, maybe they're the first team to do it. You know,
they get the
back
coaching
then with the original 6. What's interesting, Derek Sanderson pointed this out when he was on. There was no draft up
Right.
until what, 1970 was the first draft.
Yeah.
So teams basically bought these
Players.
players. And, you know, the Canadians obviously had a
stronghold,
monopoly on the market. So interesting stuff. But this year there is a draft. It'll be Friday night, tomorrow night when this drops.
Yeah.
So be interesting to watch and see what happens.
There's a few more trades that come out.
Oh, I'm sure there'll be some movement. Well,
this has been good.
Love talking hockey, of course. And Josh he had some technical difficulties on this episode. We got to get him better internet, I think. I don't know. He said,
so what happens now? Can we just like stop?
Well, we're gonna figure that out first. Let's wrap it up and then we'll figure it out. So
good idea.
Want to thank everyone for tuning in. This will do it for episode 68, the Jaromír Jagr episode.
Kid.
Man, he is just a beast. I love that dude. And I love the fact that he's still playing and he's still playing for the team that he owns.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, I think he might play till he's 60. He's 53 right now.
He's not going to stop.
I'm not going to stop.
Nope.
But yeah, want to thank you guys for tuning in. Remember to like and subscribe on YouTube and follow us on all the social medias. And you can get those links right through chirpingzebras.com. We're on the Facebook, the Instagram, and of course,
the TikTok.
Thank you. Want to thank our sponsor, the Referees Crease, your one-stop shop for all your refereeing needs. And also thank AOA Studios for all the great work they do. Yeah, we'll be back next week with, our
guest.
We're scheduled to have RA from Spitting Chicklets on, unless something crazy happens. Of course, you know, maybe Chris Nyland calls us and jumps in again, which happened last time we teased the guest, but we're pretty sure in this one. So for Gino Binder Jr., for Josh Dolan, who's lost on the interwebs, I'm Mark Riley. We'll see you next time right here on Chirping Zebras.
All right, we got RA from Spitting Chicklets on Chirping Zebras, and I got my missing curfew. That's a Hockey Pod trifecta.
Right on, absolutely.
All right, coming up.
Check it out, episode 69.
69.
That means
see you soon.